my drink ready. Normally people do this with like a glass of wine or pink gin, but here I am with my little like tumbler cup thing with water in it. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a bit of a chatty video, first ever Q&A. Went on my Instagram and I also put it on like the YouTube community tab part, asking if you had any questions for me. So I used some questions that people sent. It was quite a while, months ago. I said I was going to do a Q&A, but I never got around to doing it, so I'm going to do it now. And I didn't get around to doing it because of school, but obviously now there is no school, so I thought I would answer some of them as well. If you like this one and you want me to do another Q&A and you want to be involved in it, then go follow me on my Instagram. I'll put like a picture so you know my username. I feel like the best one to start with is, why did you start a YouTube channel? Because I feel like this is just the start of why I've got this YouTube channel. I feel like everyone was watching YouTube. I was like obsessed with like Zoella, like the classic YouTubers. I feel like everyone always thinks, oh my god, I want to do YouTube because it looks really fun. I feel like everyone has had that moment where they're like, I want to start a YouTube channel because it looks so much fun. I never really had any hobbies. So like in primary school, I used to do like sports like netball, squash, like all of them kind of sports. But as I went into secondary school, I never really did anything. I mean, I carried on with like netball in like year 7 and 8, but I never really had like a full-on hobby. Like some of my friends were like dancing. I just wanted to start a YouTube channel. That was kind of like, it's my hobby. It all started with my first ever YouTube video, which was like a baking video of Tanya Bear's recipe, and I really wanted to try it, and I was like, I'm just gonna film it. So I filmed it, but like not with the intention of posting it anywhere. But I started to like put like, I did not speak. I don't think I'm speaking in it. I was so nervous. I was like, I'm not speaking it in a video, like that's just weird. So I put like all writing over the top of it. When it came to like, I finished editing it, my sister was like, just post it. And I was like, well, I don't really know if I want to post it or not. And she was like, just post it, it'll be fine. So I ended up just posting it, and I think I gained 1 subscriber from it or something. And as soon as I had 1 subscriber, I was like, that's it. Got to do another one for them, because I don't know, I just felt 1 subscriber and I was like, oh my god, someone's watching my videos. And I remember being so happy. I was like, someone's actually watched that and they've subscribed to me, and I was so happy. Just like, I've got to do another one now because they're going to be wanting another one. And it was just after 1 subscriber that made me carry it on, and now I'm here and I actually speak to a camera. That is basically how I started a YouTube channel. And yeah, I guess the why is because I just watched so much YouTube and I was like, it just looks so much fun to do. So I think that's just why I did it. And also I didn't really have a hobby, and I was just like, why not? I got is, do you miss your friends? And this was sent in by my friend. So I'm guessing she's directing herself here. No, I'm joking. I do miss my friends because it's a weird thing. I used to go to school every single day and see them, and it's just normality to go to school and just to see your friends every day. And I feel like it's kind of an insight into like uni life, or like whatever goes on after when your friends go off to university, because you're not going to be together every single day. So I feel like it's a weird thing because you've got to make the effort to talk to them, or obviously not meet up, but eventually to meet back up with them, because you won't be seeing them at school every day. Normally you would just talk about the smallest things because you see them every day, but now you maybe don't do that. And with my school, I went in on the Thursday, so officially school shut on the Friday, but I went on the Thursday thinking that the Friday would be my last day, and I got in and they were like, yeah, you can just leave at lunch and you're not coming back. And everyone was just like, what, we're not coming in tomorrow? So I never really had a last day, but they do say that we're gonna have a last day like later on. Next one is, how do you keep yourself entertained during lockdown? So I did do a video of this, 15 things to do during lockdown video, so I'll link that up the top here. I guess the way that I've been doing it, I mean, the past like 2 or 3 days I've watched Netflix. Honestly, I've been watching How to Get Away with Murder, and I'm rewatching The Vampire Diaries. So I've been watching them 2 series. I watched The Odd Film in like the evening with my family, but honestly at the moment it's been a bit of a Netflix binge. Other ways, I go on the walk with my dog. So if you've got a dog, I feel like that's the easiest way to get out of the house. We've been trying to like avoid the big supermarkets for like a long time till we really need to go. So we've been walking my dog to like the smaller shops and just picking up like literally like bread. For the Easter holidays I was doing my like classwork, so work that my teachers had been setting, but obviously during Easter they haven't been setting anything, so I think I'm officially meant to be going back to school tomorrow, so I'll probably have to pick up that again. Doing TikToks, I've learnt TikToks. I've posted 2. Probably like my average day. I get up around 9 and then I stay in bed till about 12. Then I go downstairs. By the way, I'm watching Netflix. Then I go downstairs and it's 12, so I have something for breakfast or lunch. Then I get dressed. Then I probably watch more Netflix. Then I probably go out for a little walk. And then it's the end of the day and it's like 6 o'clock and the day's over, so I have a shower and get back into bed. And YouTube in itself has kept me entertained. Like I have to do my makeup, I have to like film it, edit it, and that's takes up time as well. I'm gonna do like all of these, then I'm gonna do school related ones all together. So another one is, if I could live in one country, where would it be and why? And honestly, I don't actually know this answer. So I would always say America, because it just looks amazing. Like the shops they've got out there, the food they've got out there, literally everything looks really cool. But I don't know if that's just because something we see through like YouTube and movies that it looks cool. I've never actually been to America, so I can't actually say that's where I'd live because I've never even been there before. I just really want to go Bath and Body Works and Walmart. Live where I am living now. Like I'd live in England because all my family are here, so I wouldn't really want to move away. I'd love to go to like the Bahamas or like the Maldives or something. Not necessarily live there though, but them places look really cool. I would just stay here. I mean, we have got warm weather at the moment as well, so I'm not complaining about the weather at the moment, only in the winter when it's rainy. What music are you listening to at the moment? Because they want some suggestions. And honestly, I listen to pretty much anything. I just put like, I know it's probably really basic, but I just put the charts on. I like pretty much every song in the charts at the moment. I have to admit, all these TikTok songs are literally in repeat in my head. They're so like catchy and they just stick in your head. Like all of a sudden I'm just like, somebody don't get her, she dancing like the strip. And it's just in my head like over and over and over again. I don't know about your families, but I just hear downstairs all of a sudden, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. Just downstairs randomly, and then upstairs my mum's going coronavirus, and I'm literally like all of these in my head, just everyone's blurting out all of these TikTok things. And I don't like rap, so like if it's really like blah, 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 and I can't even understand the words. If the World Was Ending, that's quite a nice song. Some artists that I do like, is it Nao? I like some of her music. I also like Ella May. I saw Ella May when we went, she was like the pre-singer for Ariana Grande, so I quite like Ella May songs, like the Justin Bieber songs. I'm just basic basically. There's not really like any specific songs that I really like listening to. I just go play top charts, shuffle them up, and that's kind of what I listen to. So now I have some school related questions. What A-levels do I take and which one do I find the most difficult? I take 3 A-levels: biology, geography and textiles. Art and design textiles I don't really know, put it in past or present, I don't know. I did do EPQ, so it's extended project qualification in year 12. So we did, our school, you had to do that. You had to do EPQ, you had to do the finance qualification, or you could take a 4th A-level, or you could take AS Maths. You had to choose one of them options. Which one do I find the most difficult? Honestly, because they're all so different. Like whenever I tell people my A-levels, they're always like, you have such a random mix of A-levels. I just chose the ones that I enjoyed, to be honest. I liked textiles, that was like a definite for me, and then I kind of knew I wanted to take geography, so it was more just the 3rd one. I was actually going to take maths instead of biology, but in the end I just did biology, and I don't even know why. I think I just enjoyed it a bit more, so I took biology. And I don't know if I regret not switching to maths or not, because biology is interesting, but I find that like it's not going to be very helpful to me. I don't want to go into anything in biology. The only thing it's helpful for is that it's like recognised as like a science, so it's quite like highly recognised. Yeah, I don't know if I would have regretted to do maths or not. But yeah, the one I find most difficult, it's weird because everyone would probably think biology is the most difficult, but I would probably actually say geography is the most difficult. They're all difficult in their own ways. Biology is difficult in the fact that there's so much content, like it's very content heavy, so many processes to learn, like step by steps of everything. There's so much to learn, but it's like one of them things where if you learn it, you will know it, and you should hopefully do as well. I mean, there is application, but I feel like if you know the majority of the content, it will be a lot easier. Whereas with geography, yes, there's a lot of content, but it's like case studies and specific figures. I feel like everything is not just in one book. So with biology, everything that you need to know is in that textbook, in them 2 textbooks. Whereas geography, we have 2 textbooks, but not everything's in it, so it's not in a lot of detail, so you kind of have to rely on the classwork. You've got to go and extend your research, so you might do a case study that's not even in your textbook, so you have to just keep adding on to the knowledge yourself instead of just relying on what's in the textbook. Textiles is a weird one because obviously it's not like content heavy, and it's not like hard work for your brain like to remember loads of things, but it's more complex in the fact you have to come up with loads of ideas. You have to be like quite creative with it. There is a written part as well, so you've got to do a written coursework bit as well as your sketchbook coursework. And with textiles, it's just a lot more time consuming, so you know what you're doing is going to be part of your grades, so you've got to get that right. So I would probably say like your sketchbook takes a lot of time up. I'd probably say the most difficult is geography, but they all are not even, but they're all just difficult in their own ways. Next question, a girl actually messaged me on Instagram, so thank you for sending in this question. Basically, she's kind of along the lines of how to get good grades, any tips on staying productive throughout lockdown, and like any general tips for revision. 100% get changed. I find that I've had a few pajama days and it's just so unproductive them days because you're in your pajamas and you want to just get back into bed, or you are in bed watching Netflix. Change clothes, even if it's just what I'm in now, like a baggy jumper and joggers, just something comfortable that you want to like sit down in, but not your pajamas. Say make your bed. If you make your bed, I feel like you feel so much more productive. It's just less inviting to get into, and if you just make your bed, I just feel like you're going to have a more productive day. Get into the mindset that if you do the work now, you're going to have less work to do later on. There may be other people who are not doing the work now. You've got to catch up on that work in year 11. So at the moment you might be like, oh, I get a little holiday, but really in reality later on when you've got your exams in year 11, you're going to feel a lot more stressed because you're going to feel like you're behind, you maybe missed a bit of the content. So I would say just try and put yourself in the mindset that this is for the better. Like in the future, yourself in the future will look back and be like, thank you for doing the work. If you try and do it a little bit by little bit now, it's going to make it a lot easier in the future for yourself. And staying productive as well, try not to do work on your bed, so try and do work elsewhere. So I just do it at my desk here most of the time. I feel like as soon as you've done the work, you feel so much satisfaction that you've done the work, and you can press like hand in or submit the work in, and I feel like the teachers will be like, she's on it. I would also say to stay motivated, don't always try and do like loads in one day. We are a little bit more chilled out now when I'm at school, so take the break still, watch series, go out for a walk still. Don't push yourself too much, otherwise you're gonna not want to do anything at all. So make sure that you just don't push yourself too much. Still spend a bit of time on yourself, and don't try and do all this work at once. Revision, I mean, I still now, the way I revise is writing notes out, and I feel like that's the most common way. But literally just before school got closed, we had an assembly saying about how doing that is like the worst thing to do ever. It's just so time consuming, and it is time consuming writing your notes, but personally for me, I find that works well. And from my like grades and stuff, and throughout how I work through the year, I found that that's a good way for me to revise. But obviously if I say that might work, for others watching that may not work. So I would just say to try and find what works for you. I've just grabbed this, and this is a way that my school said was like a really good way of revising that might be a bit more like time efficient and in the long term better anyway. It's got a clock in the middle, so you write a topic. So for instance, when I did this one, I did photosynthesis because I had a test on it, I think. Each of these lines represents 5 minutes, and basically that obviously breaks it, photosynthesis down and your topic down into many different sections. So for instance, in each bit, so this is light dependent stage, this is light independent stage, then the factors affecting photosynthesis, and then like the structure of chloroplasts. Break it down into the one subject into many sections, and you spend 5 minutes reciting what you know about each section. Once you've done that, you go into your textbook, and then you write in a different colour pen things that you missed out or maybe got wrong and things like that. And apparently that's meant to be a more effective way of revising. That was something that I just started to use, and then obviously schools got cancelled, so I never actually ended up using that. I think that was like the only one I did. I would say it's really important throughout the year, all of these small little tests. So for biology, we used to have things called K tests, so knowledge tests, like small answer questions. I mean, sometimes there might be like a 6-marker or something, but it was more like fact recall instead of like application. Them small tests, don't just take them lightly and be like, oh, it's just a small test, like it doesn't matter if I do bad in it. Definitely say to revise how you would normally revise for an exam, not just a mock exam, but even these small exams, revise how you would. Maybe write your notes for that. So for instance, if I had a photosynthesis exam, I would write my notes for photosynthesis. At the end of all of my year, I would have all my notes from all these small subtopics. I think that makes sense. Doing the test as well, I find that it's really helpful to know what you knew from that subject and what you didn't from that specific topic, so you know what topics were harder maybe than others, and then later on when you need to learn it again, you're kind of already going to remember parts of it anyway. You feel pressure to get all A stars at A level due to how many 9s you got at GCSE. In year 12, I think this applied to me quite a lot. I think because I'd never, like throughout GCSEs from year 9 to year 11, you'd never got a formal qualification before, you'd just got test results back, and I find that I was not expecting to get 9s, so when I got them, it really made me like shocked that I'd got them, because my mock grades weren't 9s. I think they might have been like 7s, some of them, so I was expecting like them kind of grades. I think I underestimated myself, and I think I do that quite a lot. Like teachers always used to be like, you're like smarter than you think, and I always used to be like, no, like I always put myself down, and I still do it now. So I would still be like, oh, I've done so bad in that test, and my friends will probably say this about me, but I'm always like, I've done so bad in this test, and then I get the test back and it's actually good, but I think in the test I put myself down and I feel like I'm doing it wrong, but it turns out I am doing it right. It did make me feel pressure to get them again, because I'm like, I don't want to go from like having 9s to not doing well at A level. And I think the fact that I'd achieved good grades, I thought, wow, I can actually do this, and I actually got good grades, so I can get good grades at A level. It was so much harder to get top grades in, and I think that's what my school always used to say. They used to say, even though you might have got 9s at GCSE, you can easily go down grades in A level, just because of how different it is and how much more content there is to learn. So I think that it's not always the case, so I feel like you can't put pressure on yourself. Kind of in my head think like, I really need to get these top grades, because I did get top grades in GCSEs. And another thing I think is that it's kind of expected of you. I think if people think you got top grades in GCSEs, people like expect you to get the top grades at A level, but it's not the case in every situation. Did I resit English language because I got a 5 in it? And did this affect me in any way? English language was my lowest one. English language I got a 5 in, which surprised myself a little bit because I'd been working consistently at a 6, so I was kind of expecting a 6. I didn't resit it because honestly, when I went to go see how close I was with the boundaries, I was not close to a 6. So if I'd have well, I guess it's not reset, but I didn't get it remarked either because it wasn't close to a grade 6. So if I'd have remarked it, there was no way that it was going to go up. I didn't resit it because I thought, well, I've passed it, I've got above a 4 in it, so I've got like a little bit higher than the average pass mark. In it like a year later, I probably would have been worse if I resat it a year later, and obviously then it would be alongside my A levels, and I didn't want my A levels to like decrease because I was focusing on English language. To be fair, it didn't even really cross my mind about resitting it because I just thought, well, like I got a 5 kind of thing, moved on with that, and didn't get it remarked. So yeah, I just kind of left it. Did it affect me? I didn't think it would, because I was looking at like different things and nothing seemed to want a grade more than a grade 5 in English language. It kind of did affect a little bit. I think one university was Loughborough, maybe. I think it was Loughborough. At least a grade 6 in English, and obviously I didn't have that, I had a 5. But when I went to like was it that or was it Bath? It might have been Bath actually. When I went to visit it, I went to like the admissions people, and some actually, if you read the like small print, it's just English, so they don't specify English language or English literature, and obviously I got an 8 in English literature, so it was fine. So in that case it's fine if they don't really mind which English you got the grade in. Some applications have wanted more than a 5. I think some wanted a minimum of grade 6. Most places are absolutely fine with having a grade 5 in English language, but it is definitely one of them things that is a bit annoying because maybe one application might not accept it and that might be the one I want to get or something. So it's different. I think it depends what unis you're looking at. I didn't look at like the top unis, so like Oxford and Cambridge. I don't know what their specifications were, but it is definitely one of them things where it's like I have higher grades in others and that one might bring me down, especially if they're trying to choose between like two who've got like similar results. Mine might bring me down if they have to accept people in. And I can't remember another uni as well said because of my higher grades in the other subject, not too fussed about the 1-5. They're not, because I did better in the other grade in the other subject, so then they're willing to like basically forget about it. How to cope with GCSE results, and I'm guessing they mean how to cope when you get them back and maybe you did really good or you didn't do as good as you thought. So I mean, obviously it's a completely different scenario now because obviously all the GCSE and A-level results are going to be you didn't sit the exam to get it. Definitely have taken into consideration, they're not just going to give you any grade, they're going to be taking into consideration many different factors. And if it is just from mocks, people do better after mocks. The whole reason about mocks is that if you don't do as well in them, afterwards I think you get in the mindset of really wanting to improve for the real things. So obviously there's going to be no work to show that bit in between the two, so obviously your teachers are going to be key for that, and they're not going to want you to do bad. They're going to try and obviously get the best for you. So I think you've got to try and think like that when you get them. They're really good. I cried, that's how I coped. I was like, oh my god. But if they're not what you wanted, then I mean, obviously it depends. If they're not what you wanted but you still got the grades you needed to get into your sixth form, then that's fine. It's like another stepping stone into sixth form. Honestly, I feel like you've just got to think to yourself that they're not, like, it's not the end of the world if you don't get what you want. You will have known yourself if you'd tried the best that you could have to get the grades that you did. Things always happen for a reason. I feel like that's a very key thing, and I think obviously if you didn't get them grades and you might get into somewhere else that you wanted, I don't know, I feel like you've just got to know in yourself that you did the best you can. If you know that you did that, then you should be proud of whatever results you got because you did the best that you could have. So I think that's probably the main thing. I think you've just got to know that it's not the end of the world if you didn't get the grades that you wanted. That is the end of the 10 questions. So if you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And obviously I did say if you wanted to follow my Instagram, which I'll put here again, then definitely follow it. And then if I do another Q&A, any questions that you want, I will probably do another video just on school because I think they are quite popular questions that I get. I will see you in another video. Bye.